Today on Retiring Well with Michael Reese, we'll share with you what Roth IRAs are and how they are different from other IRAs.
You absolutely need to know how these things work. You need to know why you should be looking at transitioning to Roth IRAs, and that's what this show is all about today. So you want to make sure to pay attention.
We'll reveal and explain in detail the 4 key benefits of Roth IRAs.
We're going to talk about these Roth conversions. We're going to talk about Roth IRAs today. And you might be able to do the same thing.
And later in the show, Mike will discuss transitioning from regular to Roth IRAs.
We are going to talk about the specifics of going from IRA to Roth IRA.
All this and more on Retiring Well, starting right now.
Retiring Well with Michael Reese, helping you make smart decisions with your money so you can live a better life. Today is the day you can take back control of your money. Retiring Well with Michael Reese, where we believe your best is yet to come.
Welcome to Retiring Well. I'm your host, Michael Reese, and I'm really excited about this week because we are talking about Roth IRAs and why they are so ridiculously awesome. Folks, you absolutely need to know how these things work. You need to know why you should be looking at transitioning to Roth IRAs, and that's what this show is all about today. So you want to make sure to pay attention. But before we do that, like I do every week, I want to take a moment and share with you why we do this show. You see, I believe your best is yet to come. I believe retirement's like the second half of your life, the time where you get to spend time on activities that are meaningful, that provide fulfillment. It's going to be a terrific period of time. But you also have to recognize that retirement is like 20 to 30 years of unemployment. That's right, 20 to 30 years of unemployment. And if you want your money to last, if you want to have enough money to support all the activities you want to do, you have to make smart choices about that money. And that's where we come in, because we want to give you good information on how to make those smart choices on. You see, most of the financial industry, the information you get from it is based on concepts that are focused around growth and accumulation. In other words, how do you get to retirement? But what don't they talk about? Well, great, you made it. Now how do you get through retirement? That's where we come in, and that's why we do this show. Let's give you good information so you can make those good choices. All right, every week I also ask you the question, have you called the number on the screen? Have you called us so you could sit down with our team to have your personalized complete retirement review? It's absolutely free, there's no charge, no obligation. But the reason you want to do this is because we take a look at 4 areas of your planning. We look at your retirement income planning. How are you going to navigate that 20 to 30 years of unemployment safely, comfortably, securely? What about a risk analysis? How much risk are you taking with your portfolio? I know what you think. You think you're taking this much risk. But we have every day people are coming through. They're calling the show. They're coming in to have this review done. You know what we find? They think they're taking this much risk. Guess what? They're really taking that much risk. You want to know that before bad times happen. And by the way, how much are you paying your advisors anyway? I think the financial industry is the only industry where they hide their fees. Is it really too much to ask your money managers to tell you, hey, this is what we're charging you? We believe in transparency. In this review, we will tell you, here's what you're paying your money managers. And of course, want to run a tax analysis. Today we're talking about Roth IRAs. That's part of a tax analysis. What are you doing to keep your taxes to a minimum today, but also down the road? It's not just about today, it's also down the road. So make sure you call the number. Let's get this done for you. All right, as you know, we're talking about Roth IRAs, and we're going to talk about 4 benefits of Roth IRAs. But I want to share a little story with you. We had some folks come into our office the other day. And, they told us, they said, we're going through their accounts, and they said, we have $900,000 in our IRAs. We're like, holy cow, $900,000 in your IRA. You know what that sounds like to us? That sounds to me like $900,000 of taxable income coming out of your IRA at some point in time. In other words, you're sitting on a $900,000 tax liability. Do you ever think about your IRAs like that? Or your 401ks or your 403bs like that? I mean, think about it. Those things are just big old tax liabilities. That money's never been taxed. Never. So that means every time you pull money out, you're going to pay tax, income tax on the money that comes out. You're also, in many situations, those distributions are also going to force you to pay tax on your Social Security, right? So there'll be more tax on your Social Security. Any money you leave to your beneficiaries, your spouse or your children, that's all taxable. I mean, it's just a big tax mess. So they were telling us, this couple, they said, hey, we have $900,000 in our IRA. And I'm sitting back there thinking, great, then you got $900,000 tax mess. But then they said one thing that changed everything. They said, oh, no, it's Roth IRA. Well, now that's a whole different ballgame, isn't it? Roth IRAs, the huge benefit that they have is they are tax-free. Absolutely 100% tax-free. They, several years ago, converted their IRAs to Roth IRAs. You know what that meant they had to do back then? They had to pay tax on the amount they converted. So whatever it was, whatever the amount was that they converted, they had to pay income tax on that amount of money. But look where they are today. Now their $900,000 is tax-free. You want to know the cool thing about their circumstances? Because that money's tax-free when they take income, you know what? Doesn't affect their Social Security. And more importantly, do you know what they are? They are tax-free for the rest of their lives. And by that I mean the way they're structured, heck, they won't even owe income tax on any of their income for the rest of their lives. All because they had the foresight to pay a little tax back then to avoid a lot of taxes today and going forward in the future. So here's what's really neat. We're going to talk about these Roth conversions. We're going to talk about Roth IRAs today. And you might be able to do the same thing. So don't go away. Coming up, we're going to dig right in.
Your grandchildren are precious to you. They are your life. This is your time to have that special relationship. Taking care of yourself is taking care of them. Centennial Wealth Advisory is offering a free, no-obligation retirement review to make sure you don't run out of money during your retirement. Centennial Wealth Advisory. Your best is yet to come. Essential financial strategies for a comfortable retirement. Join TV host and certified financial planner Michael Reese for an informative and exciting presentation with complimentary gourmet dinner and learn how to protect your assets from market volatility, how to find growth and security in today's volatile market, how to prevent outliving your money, how decisions in Washington, D.C. are affecting your retirement, how to safeguard your assets from unnecessary taxation, the 4 ways to make sure your advisor is giving you expert advice, and much more. Choose the date that works best for you. October 13th or October 15th at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Austin. Presentations start at 6:30 p.m. and are free to attend with a complimentary gourmet dinner to follow. But seating is limited and fills quickly. Call 888-608-5825 or visit send-wealth.com/events to reserve your seats today. There is no cost and no obligation. Don't miss this important presentation, Essential Financial Strategies for a Comfortable Retirement. Call 888-608-5825 today. You've always known how to enjoy life, to make every moment count, to explore and push the boundaries, to never stop growing. And with all this, you know your best is yet to come. Centennial Wealth Advisory. Portfolio stability, tax reduction strategies, lifetime income, financial security in any economy. Centennial Wealth Advisory. Your best is yet to come.
Welcome back. This week we're talking about Roth IRAs and how awesome they are. And what I want to do now is I want to jump into some details. I want to talk about 4 reasons that Roth IRAs are just so darn cool. And here's the first one. They provide complete freedom from future tax increases. Now, let's talk about this a little bit. What's our national debt right now? I mean, do you know? As of this recording, it's about $18 trillion. That's trillion with a T. How big is $18 trillion? I mean, it's such a big number, nobody knows. Nobody can wrap their arms around it. It's just a huge number. And now there's a website out there. It's called usdebtclock.org. And I bring it up because if you go there, a couple things. You can see the national debt and you can see it in real time and watch it grow in real time. And that's kind of fun. But they also do a good job trying to take this huge number that nobody can understand, and they try to put it in real life terms that we can understand. And what they've done is they have broken down that $18 trillion number. They've said, well, here's how much money per household that is, the equivalent amount of money per household. In other words, if every household in America were to pay this amount of money to the IRS at one time, it would pay for the national debt. And you know what that number is? Number is $150,000 per household. $150,000. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, that's no big deal. I'm sure you have $150,000 just laying around the house in pocket change to pay off the national debt. But not everybody does. I mean, that's just, people don't have that kind of money. And even if we all had that kind of money laying around and we all gave it to the IRS, all at one time, what's going to happen to the debt then? It goes to zero. Then what happens? Well, just starts growing again, right? Because our good folks in Washington, D.C., they're really good at spending money. They're not so good at being adults when it comes to figuring out how to pay for what they're spending. Now, how does that impact you, and how does that impact the value of your retirement plans? Think about it. Your 401ks, your 403bs, IRAs. This is money that's never been taxed. At some point down the road, the Congress, they're going to have to increase tax rates. They're going to have to, and not just on the rich. They're going to have to increase taxes on everybody to pay for all the spending that they do. And every time they increase taxes, how does that affect the value of your retirement plan? Reduces those values immediately. But not if it's a Roth IRA. Because Roth IRAs, by law, are tax-free for life. And people are always, every time we talk about Roth IRAs, somebody says, well, what if they change the rules and don't make them tax-free? And it's like, I paid some taxes to convert to Roth IRA. Well, what if the government changes its mind and then I end up paying taxes twice? No. It can't work that way. That's not how the rules work with the tax code. If the government changes their mind later on, they just have to draw a line in the sand and say, okay, from this point forward, this is how the rules are. But if you're already in, you're in. They grandfather you in. So Roth IRAs, one real big benefit is they immunize your retirement accounts from tax increases. What's next? Do you know that Roth IRAs have no required minimum distributions? I mean, holy cow. Retirement plans, 401s, 403s, IRAs, they're the only asset, they're the only type of account that requires that you pull money out even if you don't want to, once you hit 70 and a half. And every year you've got to pull money out, even if you don't want to. But not Roth IRAs. With Roth IRAs, there are no required distributions. You pull the money out or not based on what you want, not what the government wants. What's another benefit? No additional tax on your Social Security. I gotta tell you, this is one that seems to really bug people. I mean, think about it. You've paid tax on Social Security as you contributed to the system. Now you gotta pay tax again as it comes out? Isn't that double taxation? And to make it worse, those required distributions from your retirement plans like IRAs and 401ks, you pull money out, you pay tax on that distribution. Very commonly, they make you pay more tax on Social Security. So it's even worse. Not with Roth IRAs. Roth IRA distributions have no impact on your Social Security. And then, of course, number 4, when you die with money in a Roth IRA, that money goes to your surviving spouse tax-free, goes to your children or other beneficiaries tax-free. And think about it this way. If you're married, when you die, your surviving spouse, they become a single taxpayer. They go from a married tax bracket, very low, to single tax bracket, very high. You don't want to leave them a big taxable account. That makes no sense. Leave them a Roth IRA. It's tax-free. All right, coming up after the break, and I don't want you going anywhere, we are going to talk about the specifics of going from IRA to Roth IRA. Stay tuned.
You've worked hard for your money and your best is yet to come. You've reached a point where you don't put your money at risk anymore. The road ahead doesn't scare you because your money is secure and working for you. Centennial Wealth Advisory, portfolio stability, tax reduction strategies, lifetime income, financial security in any economy.
Listen, are you an employee who is participating in a 401k plan? Are you aware that in some cases, you'll be able to roll out of the plan even though you're still working?
Are you tired of the choices you have and possibly the lack of professional help in getting you to your retirement goals? If you're looking for an alternative approach to help you protect your hard-earned retirement savings, then we may be able to help. You may be entitled to an in-service rollout of your 401k plan.
A rollover to a self-directed IRA may be an appropriate solution for you. Contact us at Centennial Wealth Advisory today. Take control of your retirement. Centennial Wealth Advisory can help. Please call the number on the screen.
Welcome back. This week we're talking about Roth IRAs and why they're so cool. And I also know what you're thinking. Right now we're thinking, well, wait a minute. Roth IRAs, if they're so cool, whenever I ask my financial advisor about doing Roth IRAs, they just tell me, no, you're too old to do it. It's really not worth it, blah, blah, blah. Well, you got to remember why they're telling you that. Your average financial advisor, how are they paid? They're paid based on how big your portfolio is. if you do Roth conversions, you got to pay some tax to go from IRA to Roth IRA today. You got to pay some taxes now. That reduces the size of your portfolio at today, which means that your advisor, they've got less money for them to make money on. In other words, it's not in their best interest for you to do a Roth IRA conversion. But what if it is in your best interest? I mean, whose money is it anyway? Who should we be focused on? Should we be focused on doing what's right for you? Or should we be doing what's right for your advisor? I mean, who cares about them? Do what's right for you. Now, when it comes to doing Roth conversions, it's lots of fun because it's like, what is it, Outback Steakhouse? It says, no rules, just right, or something like that. That's their slogan. With Roth IRA conversions, there are no rules, no restrictions. You can do pretty much whatever you want. Now, here's a key point. A lot of people think that they make too much money to do a Roth conversion, that they have some kind of income restriction. What a lot of people still don't know is back in 2010, 5 years ago, they eliminated any income restriction. So it used to be if you made over $100,000, you could not do a Roth conversion. Today, you could make $40 million and you can still do a Roth conversion, right? You can be, you could be a sports star making a big contract or a movie star. You could still do a Roth conversion. There are no income limitations at all. So it doesn't matter what your income level is, you can convert IRA to Roth. Now, there are limitations on contributing, so adding money, but to go from IRA to Roth IRA, no limitations on income. Next, there are no rules on how little or how much you convert. Now, you do owe tax on whatever amount is you convert. So let's say you have $1 million in an IRA. You could convert all $1 million in 1 year. You got to pay tax on $1 million, but once you do, it's tax-free for life. Or you could convert $100 or anything in between. There's no rules, no limits, no restrictions, whatever works for you. You know, in our office, it's very common. Every year we're sitting down with people, we're looking at the tax return, and we're saying, well, gee, how much can you convert this year and stay within your tax bracket? How do you maximize your tax bracket? And whatever that amount is, that's what we look to convert. And you might say, well, I got $500,000 in my IRA, and you're only telling me to convert $20,000. It's a drop in the bucket. Well, think about it. You convert $20,000 this year, and $20,000 next year, and $20,000 the year after that. You do it for 10 years, you've converted $200,000. I mean, that's a pretty good chunk of money over a period of time. And you've done it tax efficiently. And of course, you even get to change your mind. I mean, come on. How easy can they make it? So you convert whatever amount you want, and then you have all the way until October 15th of the following year to change your mind. I mean, wow. They make it so easy to do. You need to be looking at this. You need to be looking every year at how do you go from taxable to tax-free. Did you know that the best financial advisors in the country never put mutual funds in their clients' portfolios? In fact, they avoid mutual funds like the plague. Yet I'm betting that if you look at your portfolio, your retirement savings, you're probably sitting on a lot of mutual funds. There's a bit of a disconnect going on there. You need better information. To give you that information, we've delivered a free report on our website. It's called Mutual Funds, the Good, the Bad, and the Fine Print. Absolutely free to you, and here's how you get it. You go to our website, send-wealth.com. When you get there, over here on the left, it's right here. You'd simply put in your email address and click submit, and it'll be sent right to your inbox.
Essential financial strategies for a comfortable retirement. Join TV host and certified financial planner Michael Reese for an informative and exciting presentation with complimentary gourmet dinner and learn how to protect your assets from market volatility, how to find growth and security in today's volatile market, how to prevent outliving your money, how decisions in Washington, D.C. are affecting your retirement, how to safeguard your assets from unnecessary taxation, the 4 ways to make sure your advisor is giving you expert advice, and much more. Choose the date that works best for you. October 13th or October 15th at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Austin. Presentations start at 6:30 p.m. and are free to attend with a complimentary gourmet dinner to follow. But seating is limited and fills quickly. Call 888-608-5825 or visit send-wealth.com/events to reserve your seats today. There is no cost and no obligation. Don't miss this important presentation, Essential Financial Strategies for a Comfortable Retirement. Call 888-608-5825 today.
Let's go ahead and recap what we talked about today with Roth IRAs. Number 1, man, Roth IRAs are so neat. They are just so cool. They have so many benefits. I mean, think about it. They're income tax free. They're Social Security free. No impact on your Social Security. There's no RMDs. I mean, they are fantastic tools to use. And you can transition from regular IRAs to Roth IRAs any way you want. All at once, a little bit at a time. You even get to change your mind after the fact. I mean, it's just a fantastic tool. Why doesn't every advisor talk to you about doing these conversions? I mean, let's be honest, because they're not looking out for you, they're looking out for themselves. And they know that if you do conversions, you got to pay some tax, which means less money for them to manage, less money for them to make. Not in their best interest, but it is in yours. And I'm going to encourage you again as we wrap up the show. I want you to call the number on the screen. Call us and get a complete retirement review for yourself. What does your retirement income plan look like for a 20 to 30 year period of unemployment? That's what retirement is, 20 to 30 years of unemployment. What does your income plan look like? What about your risk? How much risk are you taking with your current portfolio? Has that been analyzed recently? How about the fees? What are you paying your money managers anyway? All those hidden fees? Wouldn't it be nice to know what you're really paying these guys and gals? And of course, what we talk about today, a tax analysis. In today's example, we talked about going from your worst taxed asset in retirement, an IRA, 401k, 403b, to the best tax bracket, which is tax-free with Roth IRAs. Where you stand there, call the number on the screen, get this done. That's our show, folks. Have a great weekend.